Hello, friends. Welcome to a new episode of View from the Bridge, which brings you face to face with the leaders of the maritime industry. Today, we're extremely delighted to speak to the industry experts from Singapore, Captain Ashok Batura, Managing Director Sinura Shipping, and his young and aspiring daughter, Ms. Akansha Batura Pai, who is learning the ropes of shipping business under his guidance. Before starting the interview, I want to ask you one question which is not related to the maritime industry or seafarers. Tell me, being a father and daughter, how much difficult, exciting or challenging it is to work as professionals or colleagues in the same company?
Okay, Kinnari, thank you for your question and thank you for the introductions of both of us. Well, I think this is the hardest question of the lot, so I'll start for this one. I think generally when you start working, wherever you work, you really have to respect the person you work with, and especially the seniors and the bosses that you have. If you enjoy working with them and you think you're learning from them every day, then your career, your life generally becomes a lot happier, because work is your second home at the end of the day. So I have really, since I was a child, I've learned so much from my father, and I continue to learn every day, and I really respect him as a person and what he stands for while he works. His humility, his earnestness, his professionalism, and his hardworking attitude. I really learn from that every day. So for me, it's a blessing to be working with him. And the rest, I don't know how he feels, so I leave it to him.
Yes, Kinnari, yes. For me, my answer is very simple. I am very lucky that if children join the father's running business, there is nothing luckier than that for me. So, because it's not that she didn't have a choice, she had a lot of choices. When she passed out from NUS, National University of Singapore, she with a double masters, she could have had a lot of other openings in the corporate sectors, but she chose to help me in my business. So I'm very grateful to her, and I'm very lucky and very happy about that. Thank you.
How kind, thank you.
The COVID-19 pandemic has definitely forced the shipping industry to realign and rethink the work strategies. As a shipping hub, Singapore has taken upon itself to lead from the front, formulating safety standards and operating procedures in the situation, especially in regards to crew change on ship. My question to you is, Captain Ashok Batura, what are the measures or initiative taken by the Port Authority to facilitate crew change here?
Yes, Kinnari, this under this most crisis circumstances, MPA has issued a circular on 22nd May 2020. The circular number is 26, and in which they clearly define how they are going to allow the crew change to happen. So one of them, the first for sign-on crew, the first criteria is SHN, stay at home. That is for 14 days. They have to stay at their own home place. That means self-quarantine. They have to declare. Seaman has to declare, and the company has to declare that they have made sure that he has taken the SHN under the guidelines of Ministry of Health. So that circular also seamen have to read before they start taking the SHN. First one is 14 days SHN. Number two is before flight, 48 hours before flight, they have to take a COVID-19 test under the PCR system. Number three is that before 24 hours before flight, they have to take a medical fitness certificate. And when they reach Singapore, your ship should be already here, and you are transferred direct from ship to from a plane to the ship, direct from plane to the ship. And similarly for sign-off crew, the conditions are rather easier, but that the doctor has to go on board, and they have to make sure that 14 days the crew has not been anywhere, or he has been on the ship and he is medically fit. And once he gives a medical fitness certificate, then he can leave the ship and go to the airport. But ship must be here. A ship cannot sail until the plane has departed. These are the conditions. So these are difficult conditions, but I can say still things are happening. As of today, around 4,000 crew has been already approved. Some have already happened, and some are on the pipeline. In the pipeline.
Understandably, there would be some sign-on, sign-off rules to be followed. Could you please highlight some of the latest guidelines issued by the authority, especially with regard to safe corridors?
Yes, Kinnari, yes, true that there are very strict guidelines for the crew change. The conditions mostly for sign-on crew and sign-off crew I already mentioned, but to add to that is that the flight as when arrives, the sign-on crew flight arrives, the ship should be already here, and then when the sign-off crew leaves, the ship cannot leave the port until he flies off. So there is a 6-hour window they give for transfer from plane to the ship and ship to plane. So this is what you have to follow. Although I'm very sorry to say that these conditions are a bit tough, but I can say I'm also pleased to say that things are happening. Many crew changes are happening now, especially now with the chartered flights. Now with the chartered flights, the direct crew is coming and leaving. So these are many things are going on, and as of today, 14th June, as up to now, as I mentioned, 4,000 crews have been already planned to sign off. Some have happened, some will be happening soon.
Were there any unexpected or unseen challenges you had to face, and if yes, how did you overcome them?
Sure, Kinnari, we faced a lot of challenges and still facing. See what happens, I'm a seafarer myself, and I see the condition, under what conditions when they're sending the application for sign on and sign off, how desperate they are, and they hope that they will be able to sign or sign off. But when we put up the application with a lot of documentation, nearly 10 types of forms to fill up, and we submit to MPA. MPA is really looking into it, but then when they say no, and then that's all, there is no other appeal. And if you write again for appeal, they just say please respect our procedures. So we have to follow the strict guidelines of MPA and their rules. So this is a big challenge. It depends on, finally the crew change approval depends on MPA.
Do you see any exceptional or unforeseeable circumstances where the crew will need to embark or disembark the ship other than end of the tenure?
Yes, regarding conditions of signing on or signing off, as per the circular 26 2020 MPA circular, it is written there that under 3 conditions they will allow sign on or sign off. One is for the tenure, the contract finishing and flag state is not extending the contract. Number 2, medical medical basis. Number 3 is on compassionate basis. So all these 3 must have proof. And then if anything else you said except from tenure, the other 2 conditions are applicable: the medical basis or compassionate basis, but both must be proven. So first one is the medical will be proven by the doctor, and compassionate is some proof from the family or some authentic proof.
So, are you happy with the way the situation has been handled, especially with regard to the leadership role played by the top international maritime bodies to effectively handle a crisis of such magnitude?
See, first of all, we have to understand this situation itself was not an easy situation. This was a crisis, and for me to comment on any government or anything like this, it will be not fair. But I can say, as a seafarer myself, and while watching the scene from shore, what I can see that everybody was concerned about the seamen. They were definitely paying attention, and now you can see the ship owners are even chartering plane to. This is for who? For the seamen. So in fact, everybody is putting a lot of effort. The governments are really making special groups to make this happen, and then still things are evolving and things will go further. So it will be coming up, some more evolution will happen, and for me I can say that everybody has paid good attention to the seamen. And I can only suggest one more thing. I can suggest that if governments can treat seamen as essential workers, and at least whatever extra privileges they can get under these circumstances will be good, because shipping is an essential service.
COVID-19 pandemic has forced us to rethink strategies and responses. How do you think the shipping industry can be better prepared in future for such situations?
So yeah, Kennedy, that's a loaded question. Actually, I don't think anyone can really be prepared for a pandemic. Yes, you can be a very strong company which has good measures in place, but preparing for a pandemic is quite something else. But I think what is being tested at the moment, whether you're in shipping, whether you're on board or on shore, is the resilience of the workforce. How much can they sustain? Now, I don't know if the readers and the viewers are familiar, but Professor Helen Sampson from the Cardiff University released a report, a study last quarter of 2019, which detailed the happiness of seafarers on board, the happiness and the mental health quotient. Now, this was pre-COVID, and what was found was that she said that seafarers working on cargo ships, quote, experience very little happiness on board, unquote. And she even said that there was evidence that recent onset psychological disorders were increasing among several seafarers, but about 55% of employers said that they had not introduced any policies to address mental health. Now, in that paper, she had also detailed a couple of things that could be done to give more happiness to seafarers. Now, some of them are things like, providing more varied food options and providing more game and board games options. But two of the most highly ranking ones were ability to sign off on time and ability to get shore leave for all ranks at every port, at most ports. Both of these have been severely affected by COVID, no doubt. So obviously the two highest happiness giving things for the workforce have now been taken away for a workforce that already was suffering from a lot of mental health and unhappiness generally while working. So this resilience has to be, I think, improved upon for all companies, of not just shipping, in every industry, because right now the workforce is what's being tested. So if you have a happy workforce that can sustain being on board or being in a tough situation for longer, the company, of course, as a family then thrives. So this is one thing I think companies can do to be better prepared for future situations like this.
No doubt shipping operation will face greater challenges in the new normal post-COVID-19. Ms. Akanksha, my question is to you. According to you, what would be the main focus of good response strategy plan?
So I think during COVID, all companies had their digitization severely tested. What I think is a good response strategy plan. Generally, even without COVID, this was happening as well, but now it has been catalyzed. Is to have a very robust digital strategy for every company. Now, this means that remote working should be made accessible and easy, and that I don't just mean sitting at home and working should be possible on Zoom. I mean things that required human intervention. There should be R&D done to figure out how to better do them, perhaps without human intervention or physically being there. But of course, you will need people behind the devices to monitor and ensure that it's being done correctly. Perhaps like things like surveys and repairs even. So, and by digitizing work, generally you will eliminate inefficiencies, which inefficiencies generally make it slower for an organization to make quick changes or to deal with pandemics like COVID in a very fast manner. By digitizing most of your company, what will happen is at least you will not have data existing in silos. This data will be transferable. So management makes informed decisions about cost efficiencies, price differentials with clients, and you can even your demand fluctuations is not just in the heads of your managers and the owners and CEOs. These are modelable algorithms. So having a very strong digital strategy should be the plan of every company, and now they are being tested as well. So I hope people are thriving, and I hope you are not reducing your investment into R&D and your investment into digitization during this tough period, even though cost cutting is a factor. So this is my opinion.
According to some recent estimates, almost 3,000 crew change have been approved by the Port Authority in Singapore. Ms. Akansha, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the new arrangement of charter flight carrying crew? Also, do you think this is the new norm, and what about the huge cost it involves?
Okay, Kinnari, so I think cost-wise, I think the companies are going to bite the bullet, because you make money to be able to spend it in times like this to help out the company and to keep it going and to keep the workforce happy as well. That's the most important thing. So cost-wise, I think companies will bite the bullet. But the new normal, I think this may be the new normal. I actually think that some department of some ship managers or some owner or some operator or some startup itself is going to create some software, however rudimentary, to help out fill these charter flights and to actually like maximize capacity essentially. Because right now what I see happening is a lot of tweets going out, a lot of WhatsApp messages happening about which flights are going to be taking off and how much is the occupancy at the moment, and there's still space. So I think for a while what will happen is a platform like this may open up, until of course we will have travel bubbles between countries that have diplomatically decided that it is okay to travel between the two countries, and you will have commercial flights resuming. So that is one thing that I think that will happen. And the second thing I think that may happen is in the past, I think we have all seen health booklets before, where if a vaccination is required to go to a certain port or a certain country where, for instance, let's say malaria is common, you will get, or yellow fever is common, you'll get certain shots and all of that. Now, what I think may happen is something like that will take place for the PCR testing that is happening, or the fit to travel that is happening, so that the doctors' go-aheads or the PCR test results are transferable, meaningfully transferable from one port to another. You may never know, a blockchain ledger may be the thing that comes up to hold such information, to keep it anonymous and private and verifiable and legitimate. So I think these two things will happen. One will be a strong way to measure health of the workforce going on board and coming off, and yes, charter flights will happen until travel bubbles are formed between countries.
And finally, any message you want to give to the seafarers, or what they can expect in the coming months, or anything which can reassure their families?
Of course, this is the question very close to my heart. Why? Because I am myself a seafarer, and now I am serving the seafarers while sitting ashore. So I have perspective of both situations. See, first of all, I can say salute to all the seafarers. This is my salute, the French style, to all the seafarers for doing a good job. So far, very good job. The ships were moving, the whole world had stopped, but you kept all the channels moving, the lifeline was run by you. So the sailors have done the wonderful part, and they deserve a very good ovation from whole world that for doing the wonderful job. Because see, here now Singapore went into lockdown on 7th April. We went into circuit breaker, and like the whole world called it lockdown, and from that day although whole Singapore stopped, but our company, because we are in the shipping business, was still allowed to work with skeleton workforce. Why? Because we had to serve the ships coming to port. The port did not close, the port was kept open. Why? Because of the supply lines. So this is ships are considered essential services. So if essential services is run by the people, those are also essential people. So I reckon seamen, seafarers as essential workers. That is under my definition, and I can also salute to them for their good work. And regarding their sign-on situation, please rest assured that everybody is working, all the ship owners, ship management companies, agents, authorities, everybody is working on it, and they have very special designated committees formed to implement this, because the situation is very difficult. So they have to take care of your health as well as the health of the public. So governments are responsible to both you as guests and public as their own citizens. So under these circumstances, please rest assured, things are moving, screw change is happening, and you will be relieved. Sooner or later, it's just matter of time. But at this my advice to you people, seafarers, is that please allow the most critical cases to sign off first. If whoever can wait, please give some time. Please wait, and just allow the most urgent cases to happen first. And to the families of the seafarers, I assure them that as far as Singapore is concerned, we are doing our utmost to relieve your relations from the sea whenever they want to as a sign off. We are making arrangement for sign off, and rest of the world is also doing same. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Captain Ashok Batura and Miss Akanksha Batura Pai, for taking out time from your busy schedule. We know and we hope that the views which you have shared will definitely help to boost the confidence of seafarers. Hope to connect with you again, that too soon.
All right, thank you, Kinnari. Thank you for
Thank
this
you.
interview, and thank you, Captain Nangya, and to all the listeners. Everyone, I hope everyone's staying safe, staying positive, staying happy. Let's hope the world heals soon.
Thank you, Kinnari. Thank you, Sailor Today. Thank you, Captain Nangya, and all the seafarers. Salute to you. Thank you, Akanksha. Thank you. Thank you, Akanksha.
Thank you all.
Well, friends, currently nobody knows what the next few weeks and months could bring. Effective response strategy is going to be very crucial in the survival of all the organization across all the sectors. What we do know that maritime industry is one of the strongest sector, and it is going to survive and overcome this pandemic too. We will definitely meet in the next episode of View from the Bridge. Till then, stay strong.